Hello, everybody again, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Anna Sparber. I'm a product marketing manager at Tyco Security Products for North America. And joining me today are Gerardo Marilla. He's our regional sales manager in Florida, and Neil Jones, who's our director of product training and technology. So it is officially summer. In the years past, traditionally, this means taking well-deserved breaks, summer vacations. Well, this year is different. In many parts of North America, I know you're joining us from pretty much everywhere in North America, we are cautiously moving towards more business opening and more business as usual. So we're beginning to see our customers more, we're catching up on delayed projects, and we're planning new projects for the fall. And that is why we wanted to spend some time today to review some interesting opportunities to help you grow your revenues beyond basic security. And these opportunities are made possible by innovations in both intrusion and smart home products from Tyco JCI and Lux. So devices that we'll talk about today were launched over the last few months, and they for sure can help you solve more customer problems, build stronger relationships, and most importantly, help you grow your revenues and bottom line. So as usual, you're welcome to submit your questions during the course of the presentations in a field for questions, and we'll do our best to address these questions as we go along and also at the end of this webinar. So first, let's talk about smart home. So many smart options, from smart light bulbs to smart kitchen appliances, that are available to homeowners today, including this amazing smart fridge that tracks your favorite ice cream supply reaching dangerously low levels and helping you reorder it on time. Spoiler alert, shiny smart fridge or any smart appliances are not in the top tier of any of the popular smart home devices. We'll talk about the most popular devices in a moment. All of the smart home options, including DIY home security, are now widely offered by pretty much all traditional and online retailers who want to take their piece of that large pie and grow their market segment in that category. So how do we, in the professional security world, compete and offer value in smart devices to our customers? So we'll talk about that today. But first, we'd love to know if you are already offering any smart devices in your portfolio and how often you offer these devices to your customers. So I'm going to launch a poll. We're going to ask that question, and please answer to the best of your ability. So we're talking about, whether it's smart plugs or lights or thermostats or any of the smart devices that your customers may be interested in. So we'll give it a moment.
Right now, you're sitting at 45% voted. Have voted so far, Em.
Perfect. So get your votes in, and we'll wrap it up in a couple of seconds. So let's close it. Let's share the results. Perfect. So it's interesting that based on report by Statista, about 80% of the US security dealers currently install a small thermostat as part of their services. So we definitely thought that there was an opportunity for us to talk about growing our offering of smart devices and show you how these opportunities can be presented to you. So you know how we started talking about a smart fridge. So definitely the big kitchen appliances are not the top priority for consumers right now. So let's take a look at what types of smart home devices are in most demand. So as you can see chart on your screen, this is research by Statista from earlier in the year, and it's comparing adoption of the most popular smart home devices, which include smart thermostat, lighting control, switches, sprinkler system, and plugs. And the survey compared 3 types of households. So all households with the broadband connection, and then also households that have security systems, all security systems, and then singling out professionally monitored security systems. That's the chart in the middle. So as you can see, smart thermostats are leading the market penetration among all households. So the opportunity to sell the smart thermostat is the largest among the households with the professionally monitored security systems, and that is holding a 29% adoption rate. So you see, that's fantastic for our audience. As a result, you can definitely monetize this trend and offer a professional grade smart thermostat by Lux. As you may have heard, Lux has become part of the JCI family, along with Tyco DSC. So I'm going to turn this over to Gerardo now, and he'll explain why we recommend that you use the Lux Kono ZW thermostat in your portfolio. Gerardo, over to you.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna. And for everybody, welcome and thank you for joining us today. Just so you know, I'm actually sharing my camera. And if you could, I'm going to encourage you to perhaps do a 50-50 split so you can see the slide at the same time that you can see my camera here. And again, the reason behind that is I have this display board that I'm going to be using as a reference. So getting into the thermostat by Lux, this is something that I've been actually working with the past few weeks. And I can tell you that there are 3 big features that have caught my attention. Number 1, the display area, okay? The actual display, large display, offers large digits, and it makes it very easy, very intuitive for anybody to integrate with or interact with. So that's feature number 1. I can see the temperature from far distance. I don't have to get up close to it. I don't have to wave my hand to kind of for the display to wake up and let me know what the temperature may be at any given time. Number 2, the knob. I find it it has a premium feel to it. It's easy to rotate. It's not flimsy. It's not cheaply made, for lack of a better word. The third feature that I like is the fact that I'm able to replace the cover, the front cover of it. So just to show you, I can actually take this apart and I can replace it with perhaps a white cover, front cover, or any other color shade that I may be interested in, depending on decor that I decide to go with, or maybe I want to make it more subtle. Perhaps something, if I'm looking for something that blends in better, I can go with a default white shade cover. Okay. So those are the 3 main features that I like. The knob itself, I'm gonna say that for people that may have some vision or physical disability, that makes it very useful, okay? Or including people that may have some type of medical conditions such as arthritis. They can interact with the knob and just or press the knob, push the knob for them to set up the set point that they're interested in. So in addition to that, going back to the slide, it fully integrates with alarm.com or SecureNet, okay? Let me tell you that there is a Wi-Fi revision of it, for which you would have to go to the Lux website. If you're looking for a different color shade as well, you can get them directly from them. However, on the slide right in front of you, you see the 3 different colors that you can get from any of our local distributors. And if you don't mind, get into the next slide. In addition to that, before I forget, the thermostat is fully compatible with Power Series Pro, Power Series Neo, and Qualisys. So going back to the opportunity, and actually, Anna just mentioned something about 29% of monitor accounts, professionally monitored accounts, owning a thermostat. That's a great way to minimize attrition rate. So is there an opportunity? Of course. You can capitalize on the technology trends, as Anna just mentioned. Number 1, it's a second way to create revenue. You can offer this as an upgrade to your existing customers. So you can go back to them and offer this smart solution if you want to. At the end of the day, I believe what it comes down to is making it valuable to the customer. Again, minimizing that attrition rate. And with that, Anna, back to you.
Thank you, Gerardo. So we are very excited to talk to you about the smart devices, of course, but in the end, you all know about the PowerG wireless technology and how fantastic of an opportunity and quality it is. Actually, hold on, Gerardo, you can turn your camera off for a moment if you'd like.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So we wanted to remind you of amazing outdoor intrusion devices that have been launched over the last few months that, again, that are fantastic at providing prevention as opposed to detection for your intrusion packages. So these devices, they, in addition to providing value to the customer, they also provide a generous additional source of revenue compared to traditional set of sensors and devices that we normally offer to customers. So we've done dealer polls in the past, and based on those polls, only 50% of customers ask about the outdoor detectors, and so actually 50% of the customers rarely ask, 30% ask only sometimes. So these devices are relevant for both residential and commercial segments. So we would like to suggest that if you would educate the customers on the value of prevention and using these outdoor PowerG devices, they could definitely see an improvement in their experience with their systems. We'll talk about it in a moment. So it's an excellent opportunity to educate customers on the benefits of prevention. So these benefits are, you know, from preventing trauma or facing the intruder face to face, but also deferring potential property damage. And that is a big consideration for both residential and commercial customers. Also, let's not forget about letting customers see and visually validate alarms, which is enabled by the PIRs with cameras integrated into them. And that will cost a fraction of a cost compared to using a traditional camera for the same purpose of visual verification. As we know, visual verification is a key to reducing costs associated with false alarms. And this is very important for all of the verticals that you may be serving. But it's also super important for any remote or large industrial sites that you might be working on. As an additional opportunity, you can consider contacting current customers, even during the challenges of the current pandemic, and offer these outdoor protection features as an upsell to an existing system. So not just new customers, but existing customers as well. And you don't even have to enter customers' home or premises in order to enroll these new devices, thanks to the remote programming tools that are available on the PowerG devices. So now I'm going to turn it over to Gerardo, who will talk about these devices in more detail. Gerardo, over to you.
Thank you, Anna. And again, back to my display board. So please, if you would like to do a 50-50 display so you get to see or have a better, better view of the display board, that would be fantastic. So going back to, coming back to PowerG, and as a refresher, just in case you happen to be on the fence or you never used PowerG devices before, let me tell you, PowerG, it's comprised of, or happens to be more of a bidirectional wireless technology. It is frequency hopping and spread spectrum, along with TDMA and AES encryption. TDMA allowing pretty much all these different PowerG devices to simultaneously communicate back to the main control panel, whether it is Power Series Pro, Neo, or including Qualisys. So those are the three main features. There are many more, along with or integrated with PowerG technology. Just to mention a couple more, the longevity of the battery, number one. Number two, you actually get to see the signal, the wireless signal strength at any given point, taking basically the guessing out of the equation. With that being said, coming back to the 9312 PowerG outdoor contact, it is a very robust unit. As far as application goes, where can I use this this device? On the slide, you can see you have gates, outdoor parking lots, fences, pool and ice, and the list goes on and on. Just think of any application where you actually need a door contact. Well, now you can, thanks to PowerG technology. And if you don't mind, going to the next slide. Thank you. Some of the technical aspects of this 9312, and by the way, before I forget, depending on the market that you may be joining us today, for instance, if you happen to be in Latin America or Europe, it's not going to be a PG 9312. It could be a PG 4312 or 8312. Just keep in mind, happen to be here in Florida, North American market, is going to be a PG 9312 for me. So going back to the PG 9312, it is IP66 rated for outdoor usage. The long battery, it has a temperature sensor built in, especially when you're working with the Power Series Pro. I'm able to not only see what the condition of the status of that sensor may be at any given time, but in addition to that, I'm going to be able to see or know what the weather is like outside. Wide gap tolerance on the magnet in the event that I'm using it for, let's say, a fence gate, and the door may happen to be a little loose. Well, that motion, that movement, basically the device guarantees that it's not going to create a false alarm condition because of that movement. Okay. Anna, moving forward to the next slide, please. Thank you. The next PowerG device is the PG9994 or the PG9944. It's basically this big motion sensor. And the main difference between the two is the camera. So as you can see on the slide, the unit on the top left corner doesn't have a camera built in. The one on the bottom left corner does, which is this guy in particular. When it comes to the technical specs, both units happen to share the same technical specs, right? The main difference is the camera. With the camera, as far as application goes, think of it as just having a set of eyes in any location that may be of your interest. With that being said, I don't have to worry about the cost of actually buying a camera per se, plus the labor or the included with it. I don't have to worry about running wires. It is wireless. Again, PowerG. I can go up to 1.25 miles open air, and it gives me that capability basically. In addition to that, this particular unit, coming back to the camera, allows me to do visual verification via the central station. If the camera happens to be, let's say, pair with a Qualysys through the alarm.com automation platform, I can have it set up so the camera will take pictures and go directly to the customer's phone for them to review any activity. So I can have it set up so every time there's motion, take a picture, or if I'm just wanting to know what's going on in that particular location, I can do a peek-in, okay? There's a lot of technology built into it. And before I get into the technical specs, let's look at applications. So coming back to the slide, I can have it mounted on the side of a building. I can have it also mounted outside on a pole. One of the applications that I've been a part of within my territory is actually a car dealership. So as you can imagine, being in this massive parking lot where basically there's nothing in addition of the vehicles, of course, but light posts. So one of the things that the dealer is looking for is how can I add a camera knowing I don't want to wire, cable, number one, to a power to the camera. I can go completely wireless with this device, okay? So that's one of the applications that could be used in addition to the ones that you see in front of you. Anna, if you don't mind, let's move to the next slide. As far as the technical specs, one of the things that I like about the technology built into this motion sensor is the viewing angle of the camera actually matches the viewing angle of the PIR. So I know for a fact when somebody happens to intrude or come across that motion sensor viewing angle, I'm gonna get a camera. So I'm not gonna have a lost area, quote unquote. The camera range, looking about 40 feet from location, pet immunity up to 40 pounds. And best of all, the settings or the programming of the camera actually gets done via keypad. So I don't have to be taking this unit apart, having to worry about jumper settings, none of that. Everything gets done through programming via keypad. Next slide, please. The PG9902. This guy right here actually was introduced a few months ago. Is no bigger than a soda pop, basically. It's a motion sensor. It has a temperature sensor built in as well, especially when you're working on a power series draw. Again, you are able to see or know what the status of that sensor is in addition to the temperature at any given point, any given time. As far as application goes, look at it as pretty much anywhere where you have an entry-exit point, where there's a front door, window, overhead garage door, and also special applications. Let's say you want to create that invisible barrier to something that may be of interest to the homeowner. Well, you can create that invisible wall, and from the minute somebody crosses that path, the customer is going to be in the know. Okay. Next slide, please. So as far as the technical aspects go, IP55 rated, it could be sitting outside. Okay, detection range, it has 3 different settings, and it goes up to 26 feet. Okay, especially if you're looking at a double side overhead garage door, it has the capability to basically cover the entire overhead door, open area. Pet immunity, again, up to 40 pounds. And we already discussed about the temperature sensor built in. So, Anna, next slide, please. With that being said, the slide that you have in front of you is actually a copy of our DNA chart. As you can see, we have an extensive portfolio of wireless devices, okay? Whether you're looking at security devices, life safety devices, sirens, keypads, key fobs, you name it. Pretty much we have everything. We're all about empowering you, the security dealer, with the right tool for the right application. Now, with that being said, I know that every now and then we're going to have an application where hardwire makes the most sense. Perhaps you're wanting to take over an existing account, an existing security system, which, by the way, pretty much everything happens to be hardwired. Well, if that is the case, if that is something that you're dealing with, let me tell you, we already have a hardwired to wireless power G translator. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it to my colleague, Neil Jones, who's going to be telling you everything about that translator. Neil?
Thanks, Gerardo. Well, hopefully we give you a nice refresher. This was just about a month ago. We announced the PowerG wire to wireless upgrade and expansion module. We are, I'll say, weeks away from a full launch of this product. We are just finalizing the firmware with our partners at Colsys to enable all the PGM features that I think we'll talk about a little bit today. But this is more of a refresher again on what we said a month ago. You can literally convert any legacy hardwired security system to become a smart wireless security system. Obviously upgrading all those hardwired devices to become Power G. Great applications. If you start thinking of large property sizes, boat houses, pool houses, guest houses, sheds, garages. This module will allow any of those hardwired devices in those separate buildings to connect to the IQ2 Plus panel and give you basically again a wired to wireless solution, along with some pretty cool features that we'll talk about next. Anna, if you want to kill the slide, move to the next one. Okay, so we'll go over a quick synopsis of the module itself. As we've said, you can use any of your favorite hardware devices from any hardware portfolio and incorporate them into a Power G ecosystem. We can connect siren strobes, 4 PGMs, which I'll talk about in a second. Along, obviously we have the enhanced security. We have double end of line programming, dual tampers. We have integrated power supply supervision. I want to be clear, we have 2 auxiliary independent power circuits. So if we have, environmental or life safety devices, we can put them on one auxiliary input and, all your Berg devices on a different one. It will support up to 18 conventional 2-wire smokes. It'll also obviously support any 4-wire smoke detectors, 4-wire CO detectors. The siren output, 12 volt, 700 milliamps. So it's got a fair amount of power in this module. Only compatible at this juncture with the Colsys IQ2 Panel Plus. And I just want to stress, you have to have the newest firmware, which will be released, as I said, in the coming weeks, and that will be 2.53. And right now we are limited to 2 modules per panel, but that is something that we are definitely looking to expand as we move forward. So if you want to just move to the next slide, Anna, that'd be wonderful. So these are just a few of the examples, a few of the different use cases we've looked at. Hooking up, Optex beams or beams in parking lots directly, to the module. They become Power G back to the panel. Smoke detectors, like we've said, COs, strobes, sirens, combo units. Something that's been lacking in the industry for a long, long time is some form of a wireless gas detector. Well, we have a hardwired gas detector. As long as it's got a dry contact, a normally closed or normally open contact on it, you can now connect that. Rate of rise. So, currently a lot of people are using our 9945 contacts and hooking up an external rate of rise heat detector to it. In this case, you can wire that heat detector directly to the module. And again, it just basically becomes a Power G device. So if we just want to switch to the next one there, you guys are getting a sneak peek here. So I want to, be clear. You are the first people outside of a very small beta testing group to see what the input or the PGM input screen will look like on a Colsys. This is a tremendous collaboration between the engineering teams at JCI and the engineering teams at Colsys to literally change the way we can think of PGMs. So if we look at this as an example, this screen, This gives us 4 PGMs again on the panel. There are our options for output type, would be, regular or inverted, or in this case, normal or inverted. We have latching or timer for our actions. From a trigger type standpoint, you can trigger either as a system or a zone follower. So if we think of a system triggers, we have arming away, arming stay, entry delay, exit delays. Something where, even as much as the entry delay timers or exit delay timers can also be triggering, whatever you have on a PGM. From a zone standpoint, obviously zones open and close. Our partners at Colossus came up with some pretty cool features. If we think of the 4th button on a PowerG key fob, that can now be used to trigger a PGM in either latching or timer. So if it was latching, you would obviously just press press once to start the latching, press again to reset the latching. Multiple partitions, it's not showing on the screen, but the 4 partitions, you can actually have your PGMs work on different partitions. From a use case standpoint, right away, we're not going to have a button on the Colossus interface or on alarm.com that could trigger a PGM. But, some of our, I'll give Rob Harmon credit, he came up with a really good scenario where we could trip a gate using the alarm.com app by placing that gate on a second partition, and then using arming and disarming that partition will then trigger the PGM. When we said the possibilities are endless on the original presentation, and then it's on the top of the slide here, right now, and this is just purely an example, I have 10 different rules or 10 different actions associated to one PGM, right? So in this case, I've got a piezo hooked up to my beta unit, and I've got it tripping on zones, arming and disarming, alarming, entry delays, and it really is becoming, the possibilities are endless. I don't think we've even scratched the surface of, what the 2 engineering teams have been able to put together for this. This really is a very exciting module. One of the things we're going to ask for, and if you want to switch the slide, we want to see, from you or hear from you, where do you envision using these PGMs? Because I think, again, we're just scratching the surface. I think there's going to be some incredible use cases that our partners are going to come back with that are going to really enhance this module and what it can do, to save you money, I should say. Give your customers better experience, and get those features that you really were looking for you would have on Neo or Pro. There's some pretty cool functionality that you're going to now get out of the Colossus, and I think this is something that's just going to keep expanding. So that's my part. So I guess we are looking for some feedback from you on how do you envision using those programmable outputs, and we are definitely looking forward to hearing some innovative approaches.
Thank you, Neil. Yes, so everybody, please feel free to use the question fields to maybe communicate with us with some ideas that could have popped into your mind as you were listening to Neil describe the capabilities of the converter. And while you do this, and while we take a look at the questions that could have come in during the presentation, just a bit of housekeeping. I had made some handouts available for you. So under the handouts in this webinar, you will see the spec sheets and brochures for the PowerG converter module, the PowerG DNA chart, and a PowerG brochure, as well as the data sheet on the Lux thermostat for your reference. So go take a look at that collateral. And at this point, Neil, do we have any questions that we would like to address?
At this point, we do not have any questions.
Well,
so
I guess
we must have done a really good job.
Well, I just wanted to remind everybody, you can always send us an email later on if something comes to mind. We'll do our best to address the question. We will be sharing a copy of this deck with everybody. We'll send it as part of a thank you email. So if there is no questions still, I think we're going to give you guys back 20 minutes to your Thursday afternoon. We'd like to thank everybody for joining us, and we'll be in touch soon in the next month with another topic to discuss with you.
For everybody leads, go to your distributors, order some units. I think you're going to be very impressed with this wired to wireless module, and rest assured, as soon as the firmware is finalized, which again we're just a couple of weeks at max away, I think again this is going to be a game changer for people. So please go order some from your distributor. They are in stock.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.